So here's the 7 rules. The 7 rules for parental discipline. Number 1, discipline is conducted in private. Parents should not publicly humiliate their children. So it looks like this. Ruby should remain nameless, but if I had one of my daughters still at home and we were out somewhere and she did something and I was sitting beside her, I could, just appropriately grab her little finger and send her the dad signal that says something like this: "We'll deal with this a little bit later." Private. Not publicly humiliate. Secondly, it's issue focused. It's not personality focused. It's not the problem with you is. You were a mistake. You were this. You are nothing but trouble. You. It's not that. It's the issue. What's the issue? So parents should address the issue, that is the behaviour or the attitude. When you blow your nose without a handkerchief over grandma, this is not good. Auntie Jane, no problem, but grandma, no. You address the issue. You don't say, "What a dirty child you are." That's not, it's focused on the issue. The third thing is swift. It's dealt with swiftly. It reminds me of that scene in Princess Bride where the guy who becomes captain, whatever his name is, I forget the guy who's the main guy. But he's taken away captive and he ends up on a pirate ship. And the captain and pirate captain says to him, "Do as you're told or I'll beat you with an inch of your life and I'll probably do it tomorrow." And I think some parents have this thing, "I think it's time that I give you your weekly smack." "What for?" "I don't know, but I'm sure there's lots of things you've done this week." That's not, it's deal with it swiftly. In other words, the child sees that there's a consequence to behaviour, a consequence to an attitude, a consequence, it's connected. So the issue is dealt with relatively immediately. Apart from that example I gave before, I said, we'll deal with this when we get home. So they know, it's on notice. Fourthly, it's appropriate. Now what I saw from this mum at the check-in gate was completely inappropriate. I didn't know, I don't have that relationship with her, but if I did, I would talk to her about 0 to 10 discipline, 0 to 10 response to a child. And 0 is do nothing. 1 is do the minimum necessary. In Andre Agassi's book called Open, his biography, he says that the first thing he did whenever he met a player on the tour who'd never met before, he said he'd be hitting with the guy and he'd have to figure out, how hard do I need to hit the ball to beat this guy? Because when you're playing a Grand Slam tournament, you've got to win 7 matches. So you don't want to burn all your energy in the first round. You don't want to smash the ball as hard as you can in the first round. You kind of want to build up to the final. And we saw exactly that's what Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer did. And so for some parents, the minimum is this. Hey, put that down. And the child learns if you do that quickly, and none of this, I'm going to count to 10 deal. Don't do that. I said, put it down. And sometimes, when the child's young, you actually have to show them what put it down means. Open up the hand, put it down. Now come with me. As they get older and they don't, this is the appropriate bit. It's also age appropriate. But it means this, that if that doesn't work, you go to the next minimum. I said, put it down. Now what I saw, and I need you to, I'm warning you right now, I'm about to yell. So I don't want anyone to freak out. Sound guys, just be aware of this. I'm about to yell. So we don't go from put it down to, put it down! I'm done with yelling, thank you. Because that's what was happening at the check-in queue. The child did something. And I thought, it's just been a 2-year-old. And next thing, the mother screaming at the top of her voice, went straight to 10 on the Richter scale, yelling at the child. That's not appropriate. And I don't know how you're going to go to 12, as the child gets older. You've got to figure this out. Fifth, be united in your discipline, parents. And where there's a single parent, can I talk to aunts, uncles and grandparents at this point as well? That when you see the mother you have a relationship with trying to discipline with her child and she's on her own, or the father, single father, you don't come over in front of the child and say, oh no, he doesn't have to do that. No, he doesn't have to eat all his vegetables. No, he'll be right. And if you're babysitting, and can I tell you, aunts, uncles, sisters, brothers, grandparents never babysit kids. It's like, and I hear dads say, oh, my wife's gone out, so I'm babysitting the kids. I'm thinking, you idiot, you're a father. You're fathering your kids. What do you mean you're babysitting your kids? So it's united. And so that means if mum has said they've got to eat their vegetables, and grandma, grandfather, they're at your place now, she's gone out for a bit of respite, and the kids say, I don't want to eat my vegetables. Oh yeah, I'm sure you don't have to. We won't tell you, mum, we'll just put in the... Don't do that. Don't do that. Sends a shocking message to that kid. Be united. 6, be consistent. If it was wrong yesterday, it's wrong today. Being consistent also means if you say something, you better mean it. Now this is another one of the mistakes I heard this mum make. Here's a 2-year-old screaming and carrying on, I don't want to do it. If you don't stop it, we'll go home right now. Like that's going to happen. I mean, I'm not sure. I think they had the Brisbane Lions football scarves on. They were coming down, I think they were coming down for the game. She had the lungs for it anyway. But there was no way a Brisbane Lions supporter is going to go home and not come down and watch the... Like, it's just not going to happen. Be consistent. If you say it, mean it. That's the 6th thing. And 7, discipline is meant to be educational. It's meant to be educational. This means you don't discipline your child because you're angry. You discipline your child because you want to teach them something. Let me run through those again. The 7 rules of parental discipline: it needs to be private. It needs to be issue focused. It needs to be swift. It needs to be appropriate. It needs to be united. It needs to be consistent. And it needs to be educational. And if you can't remember that, can you remember pie sauce? Gee, in my mind, I thought people would either standing ovation and clap and go, oh, that's clever, yeah, it's too late now. The moment's gone. Pie sauce.
We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. If you'd like to see more, hit the subscribe button. For more information about our church, head over to lagana.org.